Anyway, I did a skid, a person called Emma clipped herself into the roof, and a man called Arthur rode down a hill extremely slowly. So, naturally, the four of us decided to go hill walking together. It threatened to rain briefly, so Arthur demonstrated his horrendous fashion, and we headed along to a basic hut, which was anticipated to be absolutely horrible, but turned out to be nicer than the majority of people's homes. It perhaps goes without saying that Arthur made heavy use of the toilet that was found on the premises, and that is only slightly made up. For breakfast, we once again had the delicious meal of chocolate spread mixed into the porridge. This proved to be a small issue for Emma, as she seemed to be slightly allergic to it.
Philip, do you want to tell the audience why you're crying?
Because I'm sad and lonely.
We're leaving the basic hut.
Having applied a safe layer of sun cream, we went outside and began the walk. The goal of the walk was to go up a hill called Fulhorn, which was about 2,500 metres. It looked like it would have quite good views and quite a good ridge. The ridge and the views were both pretty good, but we had places to be. So eventually we were in Zurich airport. And yes, that transition made no sense.
Hey Carl, do you like planes?
Taxiing, takeoff and landing.
All of a sudden, we were back in Scotland. And a few weeks later,
The lift has arrived and we are now going to begin our journey.
Our adventure.
First port of call going to be, Carlo?
We're going to go to the fuel station, uplift about 30 litres of the finest diesel.
We've arrived at the shop. Look at this. This is like... wow. Look at all this pick and mix. How cool is that? Smile violently, Arthur.
after a difficult period of separation from Arthur and Emma, Carlo and I met them to go hill walking.
Just explaining all the buttons this car has.
That's the your crash button. That's the your crash even more button.
We eventually found parking and began the walk. Coming up are some out of context clips of conversation.
That's us.
If you're desperate, you need a bike helmet.
The noise of my breathing and wind. Then Carl and I remembered that we should say where we actually were.
We're going to do the something ridge. What's it called again? Arthur, what's the ridge called?
Aonach here. So the plan is from here, we're going to summit this first one row, make it along the ridge, get to the next one row, and then head down to the pub.
Soon we had reached the first Monroe, which meant we could progress to walking along the ridge. This consisted of good views and trying not to fall over. And of course, lots more wind.
Oh, I can touch. Descending down the great precipice.
Too much when I pull my right foot out, it like jolted me.
Somehow we got slightly lost on a ridgeline and ended up climbing up this small cliff. Then I decided to run away.
Wild Philip. Let loose on the Munros.
At midnight, he's run out of gas, so I had Merlot.
Is the top of the final Monroe. So we walked along through that. Okay, there's a cloud in the way. We came from that direction anyway, and now we're headed that direction. I ran on ahead because I needed the exercise.
Thank you, have a nice day.
Once at the top, we decided that we should also walk down. So we did.
Carl and I are now walking to the car.
You're not going to hear a thing that you're saying.
No, they are. I'm shouting at them. Carl and I are now walking to the car because basically we need to pick them up.
The next day we set off to watch the UCI Time Trial World Championships. This consisted of a lot of people wearing tight clothing cycling past at a fairly good speed. And then people shouting at them.
It's a video, didn't? Yeah.